In college football is Florida International University, located in Miami. Today, the Panthers get big brother to the east, the University of Miami, located in Coral Gables. 9 miles separate the two campuses. 22 miles separates the U from its home field, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens. And today, for the first time in 11 years, these next-door neighbors meet on the gridiron. Welcome to college football on ESPN, presented by ExxonMobil. And welcome to Hard Rock Stadium, the home of the Dolphins on Sundays and the home of the Canes on Saturdays. The U and FIU for just the third meeting in college football. Just before the game, Mark Richt and Butch Davis, these two legendary college football head coaches, met. They meet for the first time as head coaches today in their illustrious careers. Kevin Brown and Heisman Trophy winner Andre Ware with you. Butch Davis, of course, the long-time Miami assistant and head coach, faces his old team again. So many connections between these schools, which are just 9 miles apart, and they meet for the first time in 11 years. An ugly brawl in 2006, but they are once again football rivals.
Yeah, that's behind us. We're going to play some good football today.
Yep.
A lot of similarities between these two programs. One coach used to coach the other program. A lot of these kids grew up in playing youth football against each other, wanting to go to one of the other universities. This is great. This is going to be a good, solid football game today.
Well, for Miami, the question all year has been, what are you going to get out of Malik Rozier at quarterback? Some mixed results in the opener against LSU. Pretty good ever since, and very good last week against Toledo with 5 total touchdowns.
Yeah, I had a lot of criticism coming into that game last week, but he answered the critics, Kevin. 56% over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, and 3 on the ground. A lot of production from Malik Rozier.
And it helps when you throw to Jeff Thomas, who leads the nation in yards per catch. He's become one of the most explosive weapons in America.
I think he's the best player on this Miami football team. I really do, because of his electricity, his playmaking ability. Get him the ball in space, and he will go to work.
FIU, meanwhile, 4-8 a couple of years ago, 8-5 last year in Butch Davis's first season. Quite a turnaround for this program. They've lost a bunch from last year, so he has rebuilt the roster with some impact transfers. Their quarterback, James Morgan, comes from Bowling Green, and a key wide receiver target, C.J. Wharton, stayed in state, coming over from the Florida Gators.
Yeah, I like James Morgan. When you watch him on film, you know he's not going to back down from anybody. 62% passer for his career. Started games at Bowling Green, and he was productive there, throwing 16 touchdown passes in 2016. And the other guy on the outside, C.J. Wharton, was played at Florida, productive at Florida. Watch this duo all game long.
They are ready to finally settle this on the field. Miami and FIU. Opening kick next. Back to the ACC on ESPN. It is a humid day, a hot one in Miami Gardens, although it's quite comfortable in the shade under those overhangs here at Hard Rock Stadium. Florida International won the toss and elected to kick. Panthers deferring to the second half, so Miami will start with Jeff Thomas back to receive this kick. In the air and underway for the third all-time meeting between the Hurricanes and the Panthers, and it is the dynamic Thomas with a strong return, cutting it across the 30-yard line. That's where Miami will have the football to start.
Boy, right away giving good field position to the Miami Hurricanes. What a weapon Jeff Thomas is. And Malik Rozier coming off arguably his best game of the season, 56%, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, and another 3 on the ground. What a weekend he had last Saturday.
He has already matched last season's rushing total touchdown. He set a Miami program record with 31 combined last year. And he starts here with a handoff and a good physical run for Travis Homer on first down.
Yeah, 1 cut back. Did well last year when injuries hit him, hit the position. He had to step up, and he really has. And See there, Duke Walker award list is on that list. Downhill runner.
Miami very effective running the ball last week at Toledo. Homer got 16 carries, DJ Dallas 17. Here is Thomas slipping away, and a first down across midfield for Jeff Thomas.
Ever so dangerous, and when you see 6 in a box, watch Miami. They love to run the football with that look, the 4-2 look that Florida International's gonna give. It gives you a lot of options because now you got to creep one outside and worry about that young man, and off to a good start already.
11 yards, which dramatically cuts into his FBS best yards per catch number of nearly 28. Another run to Homer, and 4 yards on 1st and 10.
Boy, when you can run the football, Kevin, it opens up so many things. And you got the FIU player down around the 30-yard line or so.
That's Olin Cushion, the safety for the Panthers. He limps off. We're back in 15 seconds. 2nd and 6 for Miami from Florida International's 44.
Well, what it does, making the point when you can run the football, now Florida International is going to have to commit an extra body to the box here. That's going to open up the play action.
This is a fake for Rozier, who will keep it, and he is stood up. No gain on that play.
Tell you what, it was a heck of a fake because I thought Travis Homer had the football, and had he given it to Homer, that's where the production was coming. You'll see it hit, see the handoff, and Homer was well on his way. Had a couple of blockers out in front. Maybe they come back to that here in a couple of plays.
Noah Curtis, the true sophomore, led the charge. First 3rd down of the game for Miami. Hurricanes were outstanding on 3rd downs last week. And Rozier will hook up with his tight end Brevin Jordan, but he's a yard shy.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Mark Richt went ahead, kept the offense on the field. Go for it here. You're past the 50. You got some momentum, and the running game has yet to be stopped. So it's like Rozier going to quarterback sneak this baby.
Rozier gets a push from behind.
I don't know.
He was stood up.
I don't think so.
Absolutely not. And a turnover on downs forced by the FIU front.
I'm scratching my head. Why not turn around, give it to Travis Homer? I like the quarterback sneak, but not when everybody knows it's coming. You condense the formation. The running back is there in a push position where you know he's not getting the ball. So now it's who can get lower.
That's a really good FIU defensive line with a couple of JUCO transfers and high-impact players. Maybe their deepest position on the team, and it holds up to give James Morgan the ball at his own 39-yard line. Graduate transfer from Bowling Green, but he graduated early, so he has another year of eligibility remaining after this. Morgan with nowhere to go, swarmed under for a sack and a loss of 9.
Boy, this reminds you of the days of glory for the Miami front four when they were, you know, guys like Russell Maryland were up front. Gerald Willis is playing arguably as good as anybody at defensive tackle in the country. Transfer from Florida that transfer has really lit a fire under him, and he's become quite a player.
Miami leads the nation in tackles for loss. They get one on the first play, and FIU loses one on the second play. Back-to-back TFLs, and it was John Garvin who was in on that first sack along with Joe Jackson. The Miami defensive ends playing strong to start.
When we talked to FIU this week, the one thing on offense they talked about, Butch Davis told us, is you can't allow Miami to create negative plays. Already the very first play of the game went for a loss, and then Gerald Willis is just manhandling the line of scrimmage.
Only one down lineman for Miami here. Morgan pressured anyway, tries to elude the grasp of Garvin, And the pass was nearly reeled in. A diving try for Austin Maloney and a ball up for grabs. But it is a dominant start for Miami's defensive line.
Yeah, Rich Skrovsky, the offensive coordinator, I'm going to tell James Morgan, look, go ahead and take the sack in that instance. And that may be what Butch Davis is telling him. You cannot just throw the football up over the middle of the field. Take the sack. We're going to punt it anyway. There's nothing there. Take the sack. Let's punt and play defense.
Punter is Stone Wilson, a 4-year starter. In the air to Jeff Thomas, and returnable from his 22. Thomas gets a block and another big one. Thomas is to midfield. Jeff Thomas with a juke. Thomas appears to be home free. One defender from behind. A miss on a diving tackle try, and Jeff Thomas has taken it home. However, there is a flag back at the 44-yard line.
There may be a hold right around that area as he was setting up a block and making his cut back inside. But who could argue that the kid's not the best player in the program?
Receiving team, number 1. The 10-yard penalty will be enforced on the spot of the foul. First down, Miami.
Well, we could not hear the official mic, but it is a hold on Miami you saw on the sign from our referee, Dan Gautreau. Penalty flag thrown right there. It wipes out a punt return of nearly 80 yards for Thomas. Brevin Jordan, only to have the pass knocked away. Edwin Freeman, a graduate transfer from Texas. The weak side linebacker did a nice job in coverage. A lot of high-impact transfers for this FIU team, as we mentioned. Freeman, second leading tackler on the team. 4 years at Texas and transferred into the FIU program after graduating this year. This is DJ Dallas with his first touch. Over 100 yards against Toledo last week.
When you see they're able to rip off runs through the running game, which was, you know, the head scratcher, why running the quarterback sneak when Homer was in the game the first series and averaging about, 3.5 yards a carry.
Not much doing on this play. A yard on third down for Dallas. Anthony Johnson brought him down, and here comes the Miami punt team.
What it does is it makes you gun shy now. He went for one on fourth down. This is an area that a lot of coaches, especially tempo coaches, when they were trying to run plays, you get to this fourth and whatever, 3, 4, and you're across your own 50-yard line. It's hey, let's go for it. But now you've missed on one. Gonna be a little gun shy and punt it away here.
The kick away from Zach Fiegels, son of Jeff, and fair caught at the 15-yard line by Maurice Alexander. Punt of 33. Second possession coming up for FIU.
It was a
And we caught in between series on the sideline. N'Kosi Perry, the backup quarterback, getting loose for Miami. Cade Weldon, the third stringer, playing catch with him.
Did not surprise me whatsoever to see him early in the ball game. Just kind of got that vibe in meetings yesterday with the Miami coaching staff.
Shondarius Phillips for FIU on first down with a flag thrown. Well, we talked to Thomas Brown the last 2 weeks at Miami last week, and he said they want to get Perry a meaningful rep. There was discussion last week of getting him in the game early against Toledo, but the coaches felt Malik Rozier was playing well and the game was close enough.
Didn't want to do it at the expense of hurting the team and taking one quarterback and essentially a hot quarterback out of the game, and then all of a sudden the offense
Personal
stalls.
foul, hand to the face, defense, the right defensive tackle 15 yards will be added to the end of the run. First down.
First down for FIU comes via Miami penalty, and a couple of big penalties now have hurt the Hurricanes. By the way, our apologies to Lorenzo Lingard. It was Nesta Silvera who was called for the hold on the Jeff Thomas punt return.
Another true freshman wearing #1, and
double numbers.
Yeah, double numbers get you every single time.
Just make him 1.5. Anyway, that one on the right defensive end, according to Dan Gautreau, our referee today. Morgan with play action on first down, running for his life and nearly picked off. Looked like he was trying to throw that ball away, but Amari Carter was there, the strong safety, starting in place of injured All-American Jaquan Johnson.
First up to bat is figuring out how to protect the quarterback, whether it's keeping the tight end in, chipping with the back, but they're going to have to find a way to give James Morgan a little bit more time to survey the field. Every time he hits the top of his drop, whether it's a quick three, a shuffle and look, there are defensive linemen saying hello to him.
It's Phillips here, and a few defensive linemen say hello to him for a loss of 3. Gerald Willis, 7 tackles for loss in the first 3 weeks, and he has another.
Just a tremendous athlete. He's a captain this week. Right in the A gap between the center and the right guard, and you see the quickness in which he operates is just unbelievable for a big guy that size, over 300 pounds.
He's a heck of a story, Willis. Florida transfer, took a leave of absence from football last year. Now one of the dominant linemen in the entire country. Morgan with a short one here on 3rd and long, near the 42. And Sterling Palmer, the tight end, is a couple of yards short.
Across the 40, and as you mentioned, just going to come up a little bit short. And am I surprised? It's surprising that FIU's not able to get their running game going. Both Phillips and Maxwell, when you turn the film on with those 3 interior offensive linemen, Budwick, Connell, and Williams, it's impressive. The zone blocking that they're able to do, those are one-cut backs. They don't waste a lot of time. But right now, Miami's defensive line owning the line of scrimmage.
DJ Dallas gives Jeff Thomas a breather, and fair catches this punt. A good one from Stone Wilson. A kick of 47 with no return. Who will be the quarterback for Miami on its 3rd drive? We find out shortly. Miami turned it over on downs, punted its first 2 series. Malik Rozier was 2 of 3, but it is a quarterback change, and N'Kosi Perry, the redshirt freshman, will get his first really meaningful series as a Miami Hurricane. Perry did not play until garbage time late against Toledo last game. 9 of 14, 3 touchdowns, an interception against Savannah State 2 weeks ago. And Miami coaches said they were thinking about this last week, getting Perry an early series. They stuck with Rozier as a hot hand quarterback. He had 5 touchdowns. But here is N'Kosi Perry getting the 3rd series for Miami at home against FIU, and starting with a handoff to Travis Homer for 2 yards.
Yeah, still trying to reestablish the running game. They had it rolling until they came up short on 4th down on a quarterback sneak. But this is a talented young man, 6'4", 195 pounds. He can sling it around the park and can run. A dual threat that gives Miami another weapon at that position, or another weapon on the field.
Number 4 dual threat quarterback, or number 3, beg your pardon, in the ESPN rankings 2 years ago coming out of high school. And Perry will try to show off those legs here. Brought down after a gain of 2 by Noah Curtis.
Yeah, a lot of guys at that position. Sometimes it's a completion that gets you going. Sometimes it's a run and taking a shot. And there he is, number 3 on that list, and some pretty impressive names. Kellen Mond and Tua going at it today. Alabama was up early in that game, 7-0, but right there in the class with a couple of pretty good ones is N'Kosi Perry.
I think he has all the talent in the world here at Miami. Has a 3rd and 6 staring him down. Hurricanes are 0 for 2 today. Perry will take off and dart close to the marker. Hit by Emmanuel Lubin up from the cornerback spot. Well, marker was down. It's a gain of about 6, depends on the spot, and it is a first down.
Yeah, that's what Butch Davis is going to have to tell his defensive line and change things when a quarterback like Perry comes in the game, is that you've got to make sure you keep your rush lanes, because you cannot allow a guy like Perry to get outside the pocket and pick up a first down. He's got tremendous speed.
Number 93 of FIU has been sent out of the game for an equipment violation.
Yeah, Malik Rozier's a good runner, but this kid is on a totally different level when it comes to explosiveness and speed.
Well, 1st and 10, you just heard Tier Tart sent to the sideline. Might be because he had exposed knees, which is a new part of the uniform code this year. Have to have the pants covering the knees. There's Brevin Jordan for a completion, a bobble, a gain of 6.
They got to get that remedied quickly, because Tart has a ton of ability. Had an excellent game last week against UMass, and they need him back in the ball game.
Quick tempo once again. This is Jordan. Once again, a good pickup for the true freshman tight end. A first down, a gain of 11.
Yeah, so what Mark Richt is doing, they gave him a quarterback run. They got him out. He got himself outside the pocket to pick up the first down, a couple of bubble screens. Now you're just kind of getting his footing into the game, and now they'll turn him loose. When they start, now they'll start to push the ball down the field a little bit with N'Kosi Perry.
No Jeff Thomas, by the way, on this series. We have not seen him since he walked off a little slowly after the punt return. Perry gives it to Dallas. Tough physical runner for Dallas at 5'10", 220, gain of 4 yards.
One of the most explosive weapon in the program sitting right there after that big punt return. Jeff Thomas hoping he can somehow get himself back into the game. We haven't got word on exactly what's wrong, but he was not in the game the last punt return nor this series.
He walked off a little slowly after the punt return, which was a 78-yard touchdown negated due to a holding penalty. Running room for DJ Dallas to the 40-yard line of FIU. And we may be in the midst of another big afternoon for DJ Dallas. He gained 16 yards.
Excellent run, but you got to be careful. Watch the end of this run, in which showing some toughness, the offensive line doing a great job. But as he goes out of bounds, that right there, the punch thrown or the stiff arm with some extra, that could get you tossed from a ball game.
He's on the bench as Homer returns at running back and takes the ball, bursting through the initial gap with a surge of 6 yards.
Homer has been excellent at the start of this game. I mean, moving the piles. We talked about him being a one-cut back. He gets downhill in a hurry, and is still surprised that they didn't turn to go to him on 4th and short. Nice drive that Perry has put together here.
4 carries each for Homer and Dallas so far. Travis with a 5th. Good move there. Homer created space. Now across the 10 into the end zone. Touchdown Miami. Travis Homer scores from 35 yards away. His first score of the season.
What a cut right in the middle by Travis Homer to free himself up, and then it turned into a foot race. Nice job of pulling around Von Donaldson, and then it was all Travis Homer getting himself to the house.
So Miami mostly keeps it on the ground. And the first drive for N'Kosi Perry, 9 plays, 7 of them were rushes. Perry with a couple of short completions to Jordan, and the Hurricanes are in the end zone. Travis Homer scored 8 times last year, part of an all-ACC season. He finds pay dirt for the first time in 2018. 5 carries, 56 yards, a touchdown for Travis Homer. Already 90 yards on the ground for Miami. And an 87-yard drive capped off by a 35-yard touchdown run from Homer. He was, of course, one of the big surprises in the ACC last year. Mark Walton was injured in the 4th game. And Homer took over and ended up on the All-ACC second team with 8 rushing touchdowns.
Rushed for close to 1,000 yards and basically a little over half the season.
So the touchdown drive led by N'Kosi Perry. He threw it just twice, ran it once. We'll see who's the quarterback next drive for Miami. For now, FIU ball from the 25. The big game tonight, the top 20 matchup in Eugene, features Stanford and Oregon on Saturday Night Football, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Bryce Love was out last game against UC Davis. He will return. Stanford is slight favorite on the road in this Pac-12 North game, and they are a slight favorite because future Dr. Bryce Love is back in the Cardinal backfield.
Well, they've got to get it. Things up front settled, set in. Christian Alexander, a change at quarterback for FIU as well.
Third drive for both teams with a new player. Alexander's first pass swatted away. Trajan Bandy with an interception last game knocked it away.
They missed a slot receiver. They ran double slants, and the first receiver inside was the one he should have gone to. He went outside and almost had it picked off.
Devontae Price, the running back, on second down. James Morgan has won the job with his performance the last couple of weeks, but Alexander's played in all 3 of FIU's games. Redshirt junior from Lakeland, who is more of a dual threat.
Yeah, what it does is it gives them the ability, a playmaker at that position. James Morgan with a pass rush of Miami. You need somebody that can, basically get himself out of trouble and make some plays for you, find some receivers as he's moving around, and that's what Christian Alexander brings to FIU's offense. 66% passer on the year.
Here comes the pressure. Alexander, miscommunication there with C.J. Wharton. And another punt coming up for FIU.
That's just on Wharton. I mean, once you get into a route that deep, you got to continue on down the field. Quarterback's expecting the fade, trying to lead you and pull you away from the defender with the football. You can't cut the route off and leave the quarterback hanging.
Alexander off the field a little bit slowly. FIU does not have a yard of offense in the game. 12 passing, -12 rushing so far. Fair catch made by DJ Dallas with Jeff Thomas still out of the game. We mentioned off the top, these teams have not played since 2007. The first meeting in 2006 was marred by a really ugly brawl where 31 players were suspended. Chris Smith, FIU safety, wrestled Miami's holder to the ground. That was Matt Pirelli. There were some kicks thrown. There were some really ugly moments in the middle of that brawl. And after the next season, these schools took a break from each other in athletic competition. Only 9 miles away, though, it is only right that Butch Davis and FIU and Mark Richt in Miami get to play once again. They'll play next year. Could be here at Hard Rock, could be at Marlins Park. It will be an FIU home game technically, and then hopefully renew the rivalry after that. Quarterback still N'Kosi Perry for a second straight drive, and he hits Brevin Jordan again. All 3 of Perry's completions have gone to his true freshman tight end, and Jordan has another first down.
Well, I don't know how reps are distributed in practice, but 2 guys coming in, you got a true freshman and then a redshirt freshman. They've thrown a pass or 2 to one another. There seems to be chemistry there, and it's showing itself right now.
34 yards on that play. Perry throws another quick one. This catch made by Mike Harley, the sophomore. And getting the ball out of Perry's hands quickly, and his playmakers are making things happen.
Yeah, they tell us about Hartley. He just worked himself into the lineup. Just kind of forced the coaches to notice him and put him in the game. And I like what I'm seeing out of Perry. trying to stack the box is FIU. So what do? Start sprinkling it around on the edges of the defense. And he's not wasting much time getting the ball out.
Back in the ground game, Dallas plowing forward for Miami, first down. You can stream college football all season long on ESPN Plus. Start your free trial right now. Just download the ESPN app or visit ESPNplus.com. If you don't want to do it right this second, the first quarter is about to be over, so you have plenty of time.
Still thinking they could stop the run with just 6 defenders in the box. It's a hard lesson to learn.
Dallas had to go perimeter, and DJ seemed to stop in the middle of that run. He had nowhere to go. Ike Brown up from the cornerback spot, and a loss of 4 to end the first quarter.
They do a good job of keeping leverage there and not allowing the run to get outside.
Of the first quarter.
Well, N'Kosi Perry gets a second straight drive for Miami. Hurricanes scored a touchdown last time. Their defense has been awesome. Their offense looking to make it a 2-score game when we return to Coral Gables. Back to Miami Gardens. ESPN College Football presented by ExxonMobil. Hurricanes 7, Panthers nothing after 1. Taco Bell this season celebrating student sections and passionate fans like these. With the smoke for the Miami Hurricanes student section, they're on the national watch list already. Find out if your school is. See how yours can compete at ESPN.com/Taco Bell.
I like it.
I like the guy with a Krispy Kreme
It's all
shirt.
around the stadium and smoke everywhere. Love it.
Miami will honor the 1983 national championship team at halftime today, and Howard Schnellenberger is scheduled to lead them through the tunnel into smoke. N'Kosi Perry completes his first pass of the quarter. It's a touchdown to Lawrence Cager. 2 drives and 2 scores for N'Kosi Perry in Miami. This one a hookup of 26.
Boy, I mean, it was a dart to Cager, and he never missed a step. Put it right between the 1 and the 8 and looks it off. Bang, 8 right in the middle. And then Cager finishes it off with 1 move and a dive into the end zone. But what a pretty throw and catch.
What was the saying about Chris Carter? All he does, catch touchdowns.
Lawrence Cager.
He's got 7 touchdowns on 32 career catches and 3 on 8 catches this year. Extra point pushed through by Bubba Baxa.
We talked to Thomas Brown about Cager yesterday. I mean, he may not be the fastest guy here, but with that big 6'5" frame, he just bodies guys. And, you know, you love throwing to that body type because you don't have to be tremendously accurate. You throw it in the vicinity. But that one was put on Cager by Perry where he could not miss it. Just glued it on him.
What are you seeing in N'Kosi Perry 2 drives in?
I see the offense, the entire group. There's an energy that has come to the huddle. As well, I see a threat that can run the football if needed. And so you start the game with Malik Rozier. You haven't scored. The minute this kid comes in, you put 2 in the end zone. Not saying that, you know, they're turning the page, but he is going to make it tough for Mark Richt to take him off the field.
Napoleon Maxwell is deep. The kick from Bubba Baxa into the end zone. And we check in for the first time today with Chris Cotter. Chris. So Alabama in Maybe the first bit of trouble it's been all year at home against A&M.
It's early.
It's very early. Christian Alexander still the quarterback for FIU, which still can't get anything going on the ground. Napoleon Maxwell, no gain. FIU still does not have a yard of offense today.
Yeah, I think they're averaging somewhere around 2.4 yards per carry.
Negative,
it's gonna go, yeah, negative 2.4 yards per carry, and it's going to go even more so the other way, whereas Miami's running game averaging about 6 yards a carry. So you know what's happening. The line of scrimmage is being dominated by Miami on both sides of the football.
It was actually a loss of 1. Alexander with a quick throw here, and only a gain of 2 for Maxwell out of the backfield. Brought down on the play.
Playing a game like this, and if you're FIU, you get used to a certain level of competition, so to speak. And then all of a sudden, it ramps itself up. I would equate it to an NFL preseason game, and then all of a sudden you're in a regular season. And it's faster. Everything that was easy to complete and easy to block is now super tough because it's just better athletes you're facing on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
That last athlete was Romeo Finley with the stop. Alexander's got to hurry to get the snap off. And he did just in time. He'll take a shot here. Wharton had a step. The ball is thrown out of bounds. And FIU will punt again after gaining 1 yard.
Yeah, Wharton did his job then, got himself open, and Alexander sails it out of bounds. Got to stand in there. You can tell he's not settled into this game. The footwork doesn't look calm in the pocket, a little bit jittery because of the pass rush he's facing today.
FIU late to get another player out on the field.
Checking in.
Stone Wilson, and he didn't get the snap off in time.
That's going to drive Coach Davis crazy.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
FIU started the season losing by 10 at home to Indiana. Pretty good Indiana team. Since then, Old Dominion and UMass. And to your point, this is a decisive ramp up in speed from Old Dominion and UMass in particular. And the Panthers do not look quite up to the task as of yet. Stone Wilson.
Wow, did he hit one?
Nesta Silvera came in and missed Wilson apparently. No flag. Good punt by Wilson.
Excellent coverage.
53 yards. Well, Silvera, who was called for the holding penalty on the Thomas punt return, almost got to Stone Wilson here. Good punt for FIU.
During the kick, holding.
Now with ESPN Plus. Get more ESPN and download now.
Well, Miami's defense has been utterly dominant in a couple of different ways this season. And right now, FIU, with that average, is only 87 plays away from a first down.
Wow.
That's how good it's been. 1 first down, it was by penalty for the Panthers. They have a yard. That is that. And Miami may have a new quarterback. N'Kosi Perry for a 3rd straight series. Mike Harley with his 2nd catch. And mostly short ones, Andre, but Perry is 6 for 6.
Well, the short ones are the ones you have to complete to draw the defense into you. And then now that sets him up to go down the field. It wasn't short by any means. The touchdown pass he threw to Lawrence Cager. That was just flat out beautiful.
A 26-yard strike ended the last drive. 3rd straight series for Perry after Malik Rozier got the first 2. On the ground, Travis Homer pushing the pile. And 3rd and short coming up for Miami.
Yeah, FIU is really, really worried about the speed and playmaking ability of the Miami receiving group. And so they're showing some 2 safety looks, which will open the field for Brevin Jordan in the middle at some point, or one of the slot receivers. You see the two safeties. Look for one of these slot receivers, maybe Jordan, who's closest to the right tackle, to go right down the middle of the field.
And it is a new right tackle, DJ Scaife. Navon Donaldson has to leave the game because his helmet came off.
Well, they'd been playing some clean football.
Ball start.
Miami.
Offense, number 18. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Last week against Toledo, no sacks, no penalties, and no turnovers. Thomas Brown said that's the first time in his coaching career as a coach and a player that he's ever heard of that happening. And already today, they've got some problems in that department. See, there are only one penalty in the last 2 games since the LSU matchup where they had 11.
Can you remember being part of a game like that?
No,
no penalties,
not at all.
Sacks, turnovers?
At some point, you're going to have one.
Well, there's your 3rd and long. Hit. Ball has come free. It is loose. That is a fumble. And Miami, after Furman Silva knocked it out, Miami appears to get back on top of it.
Looked like Venzel Bulware, the left guard, actually was heads up in getting on the football. Silva with a nice pass rush. It was right around the left tackle, and there's nothing you can do about that one, young man. You just continue to trust that the guys up front are going to give you some time.
13.5 career sacks for Furman Silva from Miami Central High School.
You talk about really needing a defensive stop. FIU, that was huge.
Meanwhile,
delay a game. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
This is the 5th penalty of the game. How they got in trouble, and in the opener against LSU, penalties, the yardage, the negative yards that it creates, and the field position to go along with it. FIU, if any return here, is going to give them some pretty good field position.
Eagles gets it away. Fair catch called for and made. Maurice Alexander and Florida International will take it from Miami territory. And a little exchange of words after the play. This is, of course, the last thing that anybody wants to see. The history between these schools, the brawl was a long time ago. Everyone says it's in the past, and nothing but a little dust up there. FIU ball when we return.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Audi and Sonic's Car Hop Classic. Get a quarter-pound double cheeseburger or a slinger plus tots for just $2.99.
Turnover chains old and new on the left and right there for the U. They don't have a turnover today, but they've only given up 1 yard. Butch Davis's FIU team is in Miami territory, though. And James Morgan is back at quarterback after Christian Alexander took the last 2 series. Graduate transfer from Bowling Green.
I don't know if that was part of the game plan, but here I would take a shot. Find C.J. Wortham or Maurice Alexander. Let them get down the field and just protect and take the shot.
Keep trying to get that run game going. Shondarius Phillips with a run of 2. And Chris Cotter with a studio update. Second down run for FIU. Chris, a gain of 2 after the play. Shock of shocks, Alabama is back in the lead.
And no shock there, but Jordan Budwig, the left guard for FIU, lost his helmet, had to go out of play. He's maybe back in there now, settling back in, but that first down run, it just went spinning around midfield.
It's an awfully experienced offensive line, but they're getting beat up front.
Being controlled right now.
FIU's only first down is via penalty. Morgan with a little bit of time takes a shot for Wharton, and it is intercepted. Sheldrick Redwine has the takeaway, and Sheldrick Redwine will hop his way over to the turnover chain.
Boy, what a break by the senior safety.
First down, Miami.
And that's the strength of the defense, the back end. Give him the turnover chain.
And it's Malik Young who puts the turnover chain on Redwine, the defensive back for the Hurricanes, who had a career-ending neck injury in the Orange Bowl last year. He is still with the team as a student assistant. Young is now the giver of the turnover chain, and it's Redwine who gets to fire up the crowd.
When he's a safety, it's his first year playing safety after moving over from corner, and he made one heck of a break on the football and talked about how important it was for FIU on that drive with field position to put something together. And then Miami just slams the door with a Sheldrick Redwine interception. How about that? Shout out to you, to Mom.
Yes, at a point. Fourth career interception for Redwine in his 41st Miami game. And the Hurricanes have it. Still Perry at quarterback. N'Kosi Perry keeps it here, trying to get to the edge and pushed out of bounds by Edwin Freeman.
That's just the extra addition to the offense that he brings. You know, some playmaking ability that can get to the edge. He's an excellent runner. He has been on the mark in terms of spraying the football around.
DJ Dallas hit immediately. Third down coming up with Miami in possession after the takeaway. And again, it was Malik Young who has inspired this team by sticking around the U. Suffered a career-ending neck injury in the Orange Bowl last year. They were so thankful that Miami trainer caught the injury. It was an injury to the spinal area, the spinal cord area, and if Malik had stayed in the game, it could have been much worse, possibly fatal. It was discovered afterward. He was in a brace for a while, but he operates with no restrictions now, except for he can't play football. Still around the team, though, and an absolute inspiration to the Canes. Harley with a great catch off a bubble. Mike Harley's going to have a first down.
That is the reason right there why Thomas Brown said, hey, the guy just worked himself into the rotation, and it's because of plays like that. You want someone to go up and fight for the football. Well, Mike Harley is that player. Not very big, but boy, is he quick, and he can certainly do something with it after it's in his hands.
Already his third catch. Sophomore from Florida powerhouse St. Thomas Aquinas. First and 10, Perry on play action. Another short one. Harley is becoming one of his favorite targets.
Hey,
Gain of 3.
What I like is the composure that N'Kosi Perry shows in the pocket. I mean, the moment doesn't look too big for him. As a redshirt freshman, all he had to do was really get himself familiar with Mark Richt's playbook, and then he was going to get on the field. 2 scoring drives already, but boy, does he certainly look the part.
You know, when the Miami coaches talked about this position, they kept mentioning that Rozier was the best quarterback right now, in part because he knew the playbook. No one, though, has ever doubted the physical gifts that Perry has compared to others. A swing to DJ Dallas here. Perry is 9 for 9 as Dallas is swarmed under on the play by Tyree Johnson out of Miami Gardens.
Well, I just love the placement of the football. We saw the dart to Cager, and then you have to be able to change gears with it. He leads Dallas out in front where he can catch it on the run. There's no hesitation. Got to be able to throw the dart, throw the fastball, and then be able to change it up as well. And well, this kid's got it all.
9 for 9 throwing the ball. Perry will take off here, run for the first down, maybe a lot more. To midfield for N'Kosi Perry. Miami marches on behind its redshirt freshman, a run of 17.
Boy, and they've been inviting it the entire first half, where you split the linebackers and now you're just one-on-one. It's just yourself and the middle linebacker, Edwin Freeman, who can't track him down, or actually does run him out of bounds because of the angle, but that is a terrible way and a fearful way to play defense.
Travis Homer. By the way, Miami is doing all of this without Jeff Thomas, according to the local radio station here. We're seeing reports from WQAM 560 that Thomas is being treated for dehydration, so we haven't seen him in the game since early. And look, you're getting to see some of these Miami weapons, Harley and Dallas getting more playing time, and Brevin Jordan, and Perry has looked comfortable and confident without Thomas.
Throw Perry and Cager in there as well. And I tell you what, someone's got to step up, and they aren't short of athletes here at the U.
Second down handoff. Homer flops forward to the 40. Third down and a yard coming up.
I'll tell you how impressed I've been with the offensive line when they want to run the football or have to, with the exception of the 1 4th down early. They've been pretty much able to do it. I mean, it's been great push up front. Homer doing his thing. Perry, when they squeeze down inside, he's pulling it and doing a nice job of threatening the edges. It makes you dangerous on offense.
5.7 yards per carry, and a give to the fullback, Trayon Gray.
Now, we saw that 2 times last week against Toledo, and he has kind of carved out a nice niche for himself as a short yardage specialist in this Miami offense. They squeeze things down. It's the fullback, Brevin Jordan, the tight end, mashing things inside, and a nice read by Trayon Gray.
Anthony Johnson, the defensive tackle, down for FIU. An update on his status on the other side of this break. And with that high-octane offense, Malik Rozier, meanwhile, is a spectator for the 3rd straight drive. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns for N'Kosi Perry, and this one a drive of 5+ minutes so far. Perry will sling it into double coverage. It is reeled in by Mike Harley.
Wow. What a throw and an even better catch. And Mike Harley is having some first half here for Miami. Knew that middle of the field with the 2 safeties were open, and someone, whether it's Brevin Jordan or one of the slot receivers, but boy, does he come through and make a nice catch for Perry.
14 yards, another grab for Harley. Keep it on the ground with Travis Homer, his 9th carry of the game, and a pickup of 4 on 1st and 10.
Well, we're keeping score up here just because we can. The 2 backs, Homer 9 carries, 74 yards and a touchdown. Dallas 7 carries, just 28 yards here in the first half. So a nice job on the ground by the Miami Hurricanes, but it's definitely being led by Travis Homer.
Bit of a role reversal from last week when it was Dallas with a 100-yard game and 1 more carry. This is Homer one more time. Miami was very slow to start this season. In the first 6 quarters against LSU and Savannah State, they averaged about 2.5 yards per carry. And in the last, let's say, 8 now, they've been explosive on the ground and efficient.
I can tell you, when they get into conference play next week, nobody's going to want to face them if N'Kosi Perry is the quarterback and that defensive line is playing the way it's playing, and mix in the running game as well. The middle of the field open again.
Perry already ran it for a 1st down and a 3rd down play this drive. Here he fires on the run, and it's incomplete. Diving try for the tight end Brevin Jordan, and that one grazed the fingertips before hitting the ground. First incomplete pass in the game for Perry.
They flush him out of the pocket, and looking for a guy that he has had some chemistry with throughout the first half in Jordan, and just overthrows him.
So Bubba Baxa with his first field goal try since the opener. The freshman out of Pasadena, Texas, was 1 for 2 against LSU. And Baxa here will slot it from 31 yards. Long drive for Miami leads to 3, and it's a 3-score lead. Bubba Bax's 31-yard field goal has put Miami up 17-0. And for every field goal, an extra point made by participating universities this year, Allstate will make a contribution to that university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate. Darius Fillon and Napoleon Maxwell are back deep for Florida International, which has 0 points and 5 yards. 270-5 the yardage right now. Miami just won on a 7-minute 11-second drive, and we check in for what won't be a 7-minute 11-second update, we hope, with Chris Cotter. Chris?
There's my man. Good to hear your voice, big guy.
Cover your eyes and ears if you live in Omaha, if you live in Lincoln.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness.
Tough, tough. To find James Morgan, an easy throw, and he's got one over the slot to his right. Right now, a quick completion.
Won't take it. They're going to try to keep running the ball. I understand that, Andre. You want to establish a run, but they're getting nothing.
Sometimes you have to abandon the game plan. They're at that point in the ball game where you have to throw the football in order to run it. And they're being controlled with just 4 guys up front that's shutting down the running game. So you got to start, dinking and dunking on the edges, putting some pressure there. They're leaving guys uncovered. There's a slot again up the top of the screen, uncovered. Just give it to him. It's better than any run that you can draw up and try to block.
Back on the ground. And some positive yardage this time. There you go. 9 yards for FIU. Napoleon Maxwell. And 3rd and 2 coming up.
I'm not sure they've put together a first down without a penalty. So they need to, this would be big. 0 for 5 here on 3rd downs. Boy, the safety so deep over the slot. That would have been thrown about 18 times by now if I'm in the game.
Maurice Alexander's in the slot. Morgan will keep it. It's a 6th tackle for a loss for Miami. Gerald Willis and John Garvin yet again blowing it up in the Panther backfield.
Miami, it is their first. It will be 30 seconds.
30-second timeout for Miami, 15-second timeout for us. Well, Miami takes the timeout, 2 remaining for the Hurricanes. They'll get the ball back with around a minute to go. Stone Wilson has had a lot of air time and hang time. FIU punter TJ Dallas at his own 32 slides forward to grab the ball. 36 yards on the punt. 62 seconds for Miami's offense. Saturday night primetime heads out west to Eugene, the great Pacific Northwest and the beautiful state of Oregon, where the Ducks take aim at Stanford. First big test for Justin Herbert in Oregon this year. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. That game's on ABC and streaming live wherever you are on the ESPN app.
Like what Oregon's done this year. I like them tonight.
You like Oregon in that game? I
do. At home, I like them.
Stanford has beaten USC. They held them to 3. That's the one really difficult game that either of those teams have played so far.
Well, this set says run it.
Perry says throw it, and throw it he does to Harley again. Across the 30-yard line, out of bounds at the 26, pulled down late. Mike Harley has become N'Kosi Perry's go-to guy in this first half.
Boy, excellent job of recovering. First a bad snap that's low, but then not staring it down. He looks at one safety pulls him off the hash mark, and that allows Mike Harley to come wide open. Boy, how can you not be impressed with N'Kosi Perry coming into this ball game and igniting this offense?
42 yards. Harley on his 6th catch for 78. Perry with a couple of pump fakes lost his helmet, and here come the flags.
Yeah, face mask.
That's going to be Noah Curtis, young defensive end.
He shouldn't have to leave the game.
Not on a penalty, no.
Not on a penalty where they pull his face mask off. So, yeah, I think that's what the side judge is telling him right now.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 7. The penalty will be enforced, half the distance to the goal, first down.
You see him here, they just reach, get a, boy, that's got to hurt as it's coming off. And then every whistle in the building should have been blown as they saw that to stop the play when you have a player exposed in that manner.
That's the face mask of all face masks.
Boy, I like the middle of the field again here. They are just giving it up on the back end. Cover 0.
Perry's going to run it toward the middle and get swarmed under, no gain. Mark Richt onto the field to get a timeout. Quickly, Miami's 2nd.
Timeout, Miami. It is their 2nd. It will be 30 seconds.
Sunday NFL Countdown kicks off before Week 3, 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. The Countdown crew with all your breaking stories and injury updates. And right here in this stadium, the Dolphins will be in search of a 3-0 start against the Raiders. Do so behind Frank Gore, who just moved into 4th place all-time. A former Hurricane with 14,000+ rushing yards. And hey, FIU's putting some pretty good ones in the league these days. T.Y. Hilton was a standout here.
Kid is a Texans killer. Every time we see him, T.Y. Hilton does work to the Texans. So actually see him in Indianapolis next Sunday.
And you sound like you're very much looking forward to that trip.
I like the trip.
Yeah. You like St. Elmo's.
I don't like watching T.Y. Hilton do his thing. But hopefully they'll have a handle on him next weekend.
That's radio analyst of your Houston Texans, Andre Ware.
Had to deal with the Giants this week, first and foremost. But Harley, he's in the game in the slot. You got Brevin Jordan. I like him in the middle of the field. It is there for the taking.
Perry looking that way. Floats it for Jordan. Get used to hearing that combination. N'Kosi Perry to Brevin Jordan.
And for a long time, my man, they're both freshmen. One a true freshman in Brevin Jordan, and then the other in N'Kosi Perry, a redshirt freshman. But it was just there. It's been there for a while. Nice move to get himself off the line of scrimmage. And what a throw by Perry to cap the drive off. Over the shoulder. That is beautiful.
Jordan did not have a catch last week. He has 5, 67 and a touchdown now. His 3rd touchdown of his true freshman year. Jordan was the #1 tight end in the class of 2018 out of Bishop Gorman in Vegas. And he and Perry are proving to be quite the tandem. '24 in a row for the Canes, all with Perry in the game. And Manny Diaz's defense has allowed half that many yards as Miami has scored points this afternoon.
That production, 6 tackles for a loss, a sack in there, and only, as you mentioned, 12 yards of total offense in the first half. Now, as you sit back and you look and reevaluate if you're FIU, there's some opportunities, I think, in the passing game. Uncovered receivers that you've got to get the ball to. That will essentially open up the passing game as Miami spreads its defense a little bit. Now the running game, that will open up some things in the running game because you're moving the defenders out a little bit. But, boy, it's been a hard way to to go about trying to move the football for FIU when you can't control the line of scrimmage.
Darius Fillon on the return. FIU will get it from the 25. Has 3 timeouts, but it wouldn't be a surprise to see the Panthers just get on the ground and get into the locker room.
What you do here, you're looking for maybe a draw play, a screen, and if you hit something big, now you're going to take one of those timeouts and try to go ahead and get something on the board. With this field position, you don't want to make a mistake in doing so, though. But if it's productive on first down, then you can go ahead and get into your hurry up offense.
Morgan at quarterback, Maxwell the back. It is yet another handoff. It's a gain of 3.
Not big enough for Butch Davis to run the risk of something bad happening, and we'll get to the locker room.
Butch Davis has seen a lot better days in this stadium. Head coach of the Hurricanes, 1995 to 2000. 3-1 against Miami as the head coach at UNC. But it is all the U in the first half. 15 total yards for FIU. 24 total points for N'Kosi Perry and Miami. Chris Cotter, Emmanuel Acho, the guys back in the studio on the other side. Welcome back to college football on ESPN, presented by ExxonMobil. First half is complete, and it was a completely dominant effort for the University of Miami. 24-0 over crosstown rival FIU. Kevin Brown with Heisman Trophy winner Andre Ware. The Hurricanes offensively and defensively just destroyed Butch Davis's FIU team in the first 30 minutes of play.
Well, they controlled both line of scrimmages, but the defense was just phenomenal. Across the board and just in the face of both quarterbacks, James Morgan and Christian Alexander, who entered the game relatively early, but control the line of scrimmage. And then you got to give credit to the big offensive line of Miami's as well, creating some running lanes and giving N'Kosi Perry all the time necessary to get his job done, to the tune of 3 touchdown passes.
Perry took over after 2 drives for Malik Rozier. Led Miami to 4 scores, and we'll take a look at them now in our Pacific Life game summary, which does start with Miami's complete blitzkrieg of James Morgan with 6 tackles for loss up front.
Yeah, throw a sack in there as well, and a shout out to Shedrick Redwine's mom as well. Didn't you go to the other side of the ball, and it's N'Kosi Perry with just throwing darts to Cager and as well to Brevin Jordan. This one is a nice touch over the top to the big tight end. A 1-2 punch that you might as well get used to seeing around these parts.
FIU in the first half had 7 plays for positive yardage and 6 plays for negative yardage, and this play will net them 1 on a run to Shondarius Phillips. FIU, Andre, has 13 rushes now for a total of 2 yards.
Well, you got to empty the cupboard. It's some things where you're down 24-0. The game plan goes in the trash can. Let's start, dialing up some stuff that we think that can work. And there he is again, the slot sitting wide open. Just widen him out and get him going up the field.
Maurice Alexander in the slot. FIU's stubbornness on getting a running game going continues. A loss of 3 for Phillips. Gerald Willis, no surprise, a captain for the second game this year in the backfield for the tackle for loss.
It's kind of, you scratch your head about not getting Maurice Alexander the football. He's a super kid with tons of speed. Had 2 catches last week for 16 yards, a run on an end around for 38 yards and a touchdown. You just got to get him involved in this game along with C.J. Wharton as well.
FIU did not convert a 3rd down in the first half. Morgan's pass here incomplete through the hands of Tony Gator IV, son of a former Miami wide receiver.
It was actually, Kevin, 2 runs for Alexander and then a touchdown catch of 38 yards. But either way, you got to find a way to get playmakers the football in space, and running the football on 1st and 2nd down and then throwing it on 3rd. You're telling Miami's front 4, let's tee off and go get the passer because it's an obvious passing situation. That's a tough way to go about trying to move the football.
DJ Dallas at his own 30-yard line. Jeff Thomas left the game early, reportedly being checked out for dehydration. Dallas a run back of 7. We're back to the U in 15 seconds. Young offensive lineup for Miami, first drive of the second half. Cameron Davis, the true freshman, is in at running back. Will Mallory, the backup tight end, the true freshman.
Well, 12 men in the huddle or on the field for
Prior
Miami.
to the foul for illegal substitution, timeout, Miami. It is their first. It will be 30 seconds.
They took the timeout as opposed to the penalty.
Looked like there were a lot of young players. One too many, perhaps. Mallory was the extra man. Well, we're just a couple of hours away now from the big one tonight. ABC, 8 Eastern, number 7 Stanford, number 20 Oregon. It has been not the best of early season starts for the Pac-12, with Washington losing to Auburn, USC dropping a couple. One of these teams going to come out unbeaten, and maybe it'll be the Ducks with Justin Herbert. 40+ per game on the scoreboard in 10 career starts. Maybe he will be the number 1 passer in the draft next year. Drew Lock, Justin Herbert, the 2 names you hear about the most. Drew Lock in Missouri went down to Georgia earlier today. Perry, only 1 incompletion in the first half for N'Kosi Perry. Now 13 for 14 in the game. He hits Marquez Ezer, the true freshman, for 7.
Just getting a lot of young players some experience here in the second half.
Perry to Davis. Cameron Davis slips a tackle. What did Thomas Brown tell us yesterday? He thinks Davis is the best pass catcher perhaps in that running back room. Yeah. The true freshman as the first.
Excellent route runner, and he's got excellent hands. He said he could be an every down back because he's got the ability on 3rd downs to really help in the passing game. And what did he do there? Delivered on 3rd down.
Perry pulls it down, showing that dual threat ability. To stay on his feet here. Takes a whole host of Panthers to stop him.
Boy, FIU needs something to happen in a big way defensively. This unit has been on the field a long time, and that cannot make Butch Davis happy.
That one's thrown a little bit too hard, out of the reach of Davis. 3rd and 8 coming up for the Canes. If you're just joining us, it is N'Kosi Perry, and Malik Rozier has been on the sideline after the second drive of the game. 2 3-and-outs for Miami. Rozier didn't get asked to do too much, was 2 of 3. This appears to be one of those situations where Perry just has the superior physical talent and may have just usurped Rozier by his skills plus his grasp of the playbook.
Right, you look left here in the middle of the field. They've got him outnumbered again, but look left, hold a safety, and he's going to have somebody to his right come wide open.
Perry goes underneath, the pass knocked away.
That was where it was telling me pre-snap read he was going, and maybe throwing a catch there, but it was an overload. Miami seemed to have, we've got more players to the right than could be covered. Just did a nice job of recovering and then rotating coverage back.
Zach Fiegels.
Oh boy.
Not well struck.
How about that? I mean, the one mishap and you boo the punter. Get a life.
21 yards on the kick. Well said.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff.
Back here to Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, the renewal of the annual game between FIU and Miami. And for FIU, what happens on the field today pales in comparison to what happened off the field Thursday, September 6th. On the left, wearing the number 2 jersey, that's Anthony Jones, a running back. In the sling, wearing 62, Mershawn Miller, an offensive lineman. Both were shot during the afternoon of September 6th. A couple of weeks ago, they were visiting a friend in Opelika. It was just a simple drive-by shooting at 2:30 in the afternoon. Case of 2 kids being in the wrong place at the wrong time, really. Jones shot in the face and back. Miller shot in the arm. And according to Anthony Jones' mother, the bullet went out his shoulder, grazed his neck, and exited in the cheekbone area. And incredibly, both are okay. Obviously, still not cleared to play and still injured, but both, thank goodness, are alive, doing well. They have been around the team. They are both expected to make full recoveries and to play football again. But it has been certainly on the minds and hearts, Andre, of this FIU team. They're wearing a decal with the jersey numbers 2 and 62. Yes. They break the huddle with those jersey numbers as well.
It's 2 of their brothers that, something unfortunate happens to him. Anthony Jones actually started the season as the opening day tailback, rushing for he had 15 carries for 88 yards and a couple of touchdowns. So, they miss him. They miss his production, and thank goodness that he's okay. Both guys are okay.
A senseless act, and we are so happy to see those two on the sideline.
Never understand foolishness like that.
Never. 3rd and long, FIU still hasn't converted a first down in the game. James Morgan is sacked. Joe Jackson, 6'5", 265 junior, a name to remember. Next year or the year after that in the draft, he is a talented kid.
It's still waiting for routes to develop down the field, and your offensive line has more on their plate than they can handle. And so it's got to be something quick, a slant and a run for a first down, a quick out, a double move in the ball, and you have to express that to your quarterback as well. The ball has to come out.
You've been saying it all game, and it looks like it's been there. FIU hasn't found it. Panthers with 10 total yards, Canes with 339.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by the Lexus RX, featuring pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, standard.
Howard Snellenberger, Bernie Kosar, and the 1983 national champions honored at halftime today, the 35-year anniversary of the first national championship team at Miami, which beat Nebraska 31-30 in the Orange Bowl. First of 5 national titles they've won here at the U. You remember that team at all? 83 team?
Of course, I do. And a lot of teams since then. I happen to think that the 01 team is the best team that ever donned a college football field.
That was the year after Butch Davis was the head coach. Now at FIU. Travis Homer.
Boy, has he had some game. One cut and let's get it. And Travis Homer is, I'll tell you this, a lot of people in the NFL like backs that don't hesitate and they run the football downhill. And you get it. It's one cut right there and let's go. Love what Travis Homer has done this afternoon.
90 yards on only 11 carries. Last week it was DJ Dallas, the bell cow in the run game. This week, Homer. One more time, he has that burst once he sees the hole. First down, Miami, and a run of 13 this time.
Nothing makes you feel better. Jair Jones, the left guard, congratulating the running back. Hey, see that hole I opened up for you? Love it. Big fellas on both sides of the football, and that's how you win and control football games, when you can take over the line of scrimmage. And Miami's O-line has done that in this ball game.
Third straight for Homer. Couple of good cuts early. Homer finds the open space. That's 3 first down runs in a row. Up over 110 yards on the afternoon. His 4th career 100-yard game.
Boy, Venzel Bulware throws a nice block. He's lined up at left guard. Now he's at right guard. Watch this kick-out block for Homer. Bam! Right there, and then obviously he's off to the races. What a block by the big fella, number 50, Bulware, showing his versatility all up and down Miami's offensive line.
The true freshman Lorenzo Lingard is the running back now for his first carry. If the offensive line plays as well for Miami as it played last week and this week, and I know that they're going to go into ACC play, face better opponents, they become a whole different offense, don't they?
And the one caveat I would add to that is you get N'Kosi Perry playing the way he's playing, absolutely they can go in any building and compete.
It's always good when you have 178 rushing yards and you have more than 178 yards more than the other team as the defense has done their part. Cager back of the end zone. Is he in? Yes, touchdown Miami.
That, my friend, is why you never let your guard down and think you're not going to get the football with a quarterback like N'Kosi Perry in the ball game. Steps up, the eyes right back down the field, and Cager breaks to the corner of the end zone, and it is right on the money. What a talent Mark Richt has on his hands at quarterback in N'Kosi Perry.
Cager 2 catches, 2 touchdowns, continuing his ridiculous efficiency. Perry has 3 incompletions and 3 touchdowns in this game. Cager's got 2. Perry's got 3. Miami's got 31. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. College football presented by ExxonMobil. Miami with the big lead as we come to you from the stadium formerly known as Joe Robbie Stadium. Pro Player Park, Pro Player Stadium, Dolphins Stadium, Landshark Stadium, Sun Life Stadium, New Miami Stadium. It's Hard Rock. It's N'Kosi Perry Stadium
it's his
right
stadium
now.
Today, no doubt about it.
3 touchdowns in the game, 15 of 18. He's run the ball as well.
That's about as near perfect as you can get.
Yep. Didn't start the game, but he has been the dominant force for Miami on offense. Monday Night Football this week comes to the state of Florida. The winless Steelers and the 2-0 Bucks, just like we all saw coming before the season. 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 Pacific on ESPN and Espanol on ESPN2.
That hurts.
What?
That they're winless.
Why does it hurt?
Because that's my childhood team.
Yeah, but you work for the
Steelers.
Texans now. You're in the same conference. We're going to scrub
They're
this.
winless too.
We're going to scrub this from the tape on the rear.
Oh boy!
Big hit!
Boy!
Sterling Palmer was crushed. Ball came out along the sideline. Looked like the hit came from Miami's Gervin Hall.
Another true freshman who has really come on strong. And does he close on the football? My!
I think Gervin Hall should get the chain for that hit.
The almost turnover?
Yeah, that's right. You're hanging on his shoulder. Here's a first down for FIU. It's second of the game. C.J. Wharton on the catch. And the first down outside of a 15-yard penalty in the opening quarter.
Couple of quick passes. Get back, get it out. And now Morgan trying to find some rhythm here late in the third quarter.
Morgan, that is not going to help with the rhythm. hit as he threw it. Joe Jackson plastered him.
Well, you're not going to have time
There's no
to
foul
throw.
for intentional grounding. Number 15, White, was in the area. Second down.
Throw across the field from one hash to the other against this Miami secondary and pass rush, even if it's a hitch route. So you got to make sure that it's something in the slot, it's something to the boundary, that you get the ball out quickly, because you just don't have time to let routes play out down the field.
Morgan on the handoff. Devontae Price fights for 3 yards.
I know what they're doing in terms of running the football on 2nd and long. It's trying to get back on schedule where you get it to a manageable situation here on 3rd down. But Miami's just been so dominant, Kevin.
Especially on 3rd down.
Man.
Lead the nation in 3rd down defense. 16% coming into today. Lead the nation in tackles for loss.
And I add to that total.
FIU 0 for 8 on 3rd downs today.
And there's at the top, not be ideal, but that's a quick place to go with a football.
Morgan looking that way, has a one-on-one matchup, and it's incomplete. Austin Maloney was there. Michael Jackson in coverage.
Got to get a little better effort out of Austin Maloney. The ball's coming your way, son. Lay out, fight, whatever. Don't watch it drop to the grass in front of you. I mean, that's where he's going. It tells, just pre-snap read right there, just having a hard time picking it up. It seemed as though if he just puts his hands out, the ball hits his hands.
Had a bit of a step on the excellent cover corner Michael Jackson, whose name we have really not called much the last couple of weeks because teams have thrown it away from him, and with good reason. Now, Michael Jackson is technically a senior now for Miami. He has a son. There's Michael Jr. with Daddy at the U onesie. Son of Michael and his girlfriend, Rihanna Payne. I love this picture.
That's awesome.
That is really cute. Michael, a preseason All-ACC team. He added senior to the jersey this year. Michael Jr. raised by a single mother, Lachelle Spears.
I love the size, 6'1", 200 pounds. He's a physical corner that, as we showed that last play, right in your face, going to challenge receivers, and then speed to run and recover.
Perry incomplete with a big push at the end.
Whoa. How do you not call pass interference on Isaiah Brown?
D. Wiggins was the target. Let's figure it out.
I mean, the end of this, there's a shove. Perry trying to drop it in the bucket to the sideline, and he's riding him. Maybe that's the offensive player in me and the quarterback begging for that call.
Uncatchable ball mainly?
Who knows? That last play looked catchable to me.
Lingard run down by Josh a little, a yard on 2nd down. Well, it'll be interesting to hear from Mark Richt after the game, and you don't make snap decisions, but he'll certainly be asked about who his starting quarterback will be next Thursday against North Carolina.
Especially since Rozier hasn't come back into the game. It's just been, let's let N'Kosi Perry get his footing, and he's gotten it, but he is somewhat firmly entrenched. His feet in the shoes, so to speak.
Seems we know the answer. It's a matter of when we may get it for the future. Perry on 3rd and 9. Head down, 1st down, full head of steam.
Love it.
14 on the run.
Sometimes you got to know the situation as a quarterback and where the chains are. There are opportunities in which you should slide and get down and protect yourself, but then you put yourself on a line sometimes for your team. This guy's just playing football, showing you some toughness and a little bit of grit as he picks up the 1st down. Boy, I like this kid.
6 feet 4 inches tall, 195 pounds. The redshirt freshman from here in Florida. I mean, the skill has always been there. He redshirted last year as a true freshman. Rozier led Miami to a 10-0 start. They lose the last 3, and after 2 drives today. And again, this was Rozier not necessarily losing the job. He had 5 touchdowns last week. It may just be a case of Perry being too good to keep off the field.
It sounds familiar.
It sure does. There's a team in crimson that knows something about that, doesn't it?
It's exactly what I was thinking, that, you know, Ertz did nothing really to lose it other than stall in the national championship game, and then you enter Tua, who was just too good to keep on the bench, and you get to 2018 and Tua's the guy. When I saw the headset go on Malik Rozier, I knew he wasn't going back in the game, and that was relatively early. Got a feel for him somewhat after, as you mentioned, 2 touchdowns through the air and 3 on the ground last week against Toledo.
Perry.
Oh, wow.
Spinning away. Down the field he goes. Couple of receivers are there, and that ball's intercepted.
That's the youth.
Isaiah Brown with the INT for FIU.
That's the youth, and that's when you got to know that the play is ended. Let me just throw it away and live to fight the next play, which is exactly what Mark Richt is telling him right now. Great escapability here to get to the outside. Now you can set your feet, but that's not the throw you want to make late in the process of a play. That one goes out of bounds. Let's come back on the next down and continue to play. He knew it right away.
And there is Mark Richt.
That's one that he's played so good that every coach is waiting on a coachable moment because he's so young. And that's one that you get an opportunity to coach him up on something.
You know, Mark Richt said after the Savannah State game when Perry threw an interception, the interception was probably Rick's fault. He put him in a difficult spot. It was a rough call.
Yeah.
That one's just got to be on the freshman.
That's
right?
on the quarterback, and no doubt about it. That bubble screen, we ran bubble screens on what we call the slide play where we were in trips. We like to hit uncovered slot receivers as they're going up the field. So you release easily up the field and widen a little bit where you're gaining ground up the field, and I just raise up and give it.
Loss of 5 to Tony Gator. Now Sterling Palmer, the freshman tight end, gets a few.
My point to that is Miami's defense is too fast to throw bubble screens against, unless you're pumping the bubble screen and releasing the outside receiver that's trying to block Michael Jackson, who's made the tackle the previous play.
What is your best chance here on these 3rd and long plays for FIU? Because I haven't found it yet.
Well, it's something quick. It's definitely something quick in the passing game and a run for a first down, because you're not going to get the time to stand back and allow a route to develop long enough.
Morgan has no time here, but found space over the middle to Gator, and a first down FIU.
Boy, nice job by James Morgan of standing in there, and Gator presenting the numbers to him right in the middle of the field, which is a weakness of that defense, that look, and then finishing things. It's kind of a 2-deep look. Waited just until Gator got out of his break and put it right on him.
Morgan finally getting to show off the skills that they saw at Bowling Green, the graduate transfer. A run on first down sends us to our college football rankings. The top 10 brought to you by PlayStation. This was seen as a potentially tricky week. 5 top 10 teams on the road, but Stanford's the only one left. Georgia, Notre Dame, Penn State winning big, and Clemson wrecking Georgia Tech.
Yeah, everybody thought, well, this is a big weekend. Therell be some upsets. Nope, everybody's taking care of business, and including Alabama over Texas A&M right now. What was that, 38-13?
Yep. You know, Penn State, Illinois was interesting for a hot second last night. It was 24-21 Illinois, and then Penn State scored all the points from there on out.
I think people get so, you forget it's a 4-quarter game. takes a while sometimes. Teams are at home and playing with a tremendous amount of adrenaline to start a football game. Let it play out a little while, and the better team, especially in football, always seems to win. It's not always that way in basketball, but in football, 9 out of 10 times that happens.
By the way, Penn State's got a big one on the periphery, too. They may have been thinking about the Buckeyes. Prime time next Saturday night. Morgan short and incomplete. Darius Scott, the intended target, on the penultimate play of the quarter.
That's a short throw because of over and over pass rush in your face and chasing you down from behind or coming around the corner. That's wanting to get it out quickly, and it wasn't going to be anywhere close to a first down anyway.
Punt number 9 for Stone Wilson, who Butch Davis thinks has a chance to be an NFL punter.
And so do I. He is the one bright spot in this football game for FIU.
This one inside the 5 into the end zone. 3 in the books from Hard Rock.
That is the end.
Cozy Perry and the Canes lead 31-0 in the renewal of the rivalry. Time now for our Pacific Life game summary.
The defense just controlling the game from the onset. 10 tackles for loss and 2 sacks. They also had a turnover in that baby, and then Perry has just been outstanding. 3 touchdown passes. He had the one hiccup, the interception on the last possession, and Homer has been outstanding. 114 on the ground with a touchdown run.
Cozy Perry, probably the big story of this game, and he sets up the screenplay to DJ Dallas, the converted wide receiver who can still get out and run like one. Dorian Hall ran him out of bounds, beg your pardon, and a gain of 37 for Dallas.
Well, they're so, all of a sudden you're having success in the passing game. The pass rush wants to get to you, and you can slip one of these screens out there. Nice job by Perry in terms of drawing the defense to you, and then over the top to Dallas and letting him go to work.
Cameron Davis, the true freshman, next to Perry.
The ruling on the field is a runner knocked out of bounds. The previous play is under review.
We'll take 15 seconds before we get a review resolution. Joe Ryder, our replay official, wanted to take a look at this 37-yard catch and run by DJ Dallas. See where he went out of bounds. It's going to be a first down either way. Butch Davis, the former Miami head coach, has not been enjoying this one. Let's take a look and see where DJ stepped out. Ruling right now is the 43.
Well, it's going to be back a ways. Not sure what the exact yard line that is, but it's at least 6, maybe 7 yards before he was pushed out of bounds.
Well, it's right there, whatever that is. That we're told is the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
So it will be 7 yards.
It's coming all the way. Yeah, it's coming back to about the 50.
Just to knock the total yardage a little bit closer to 0. It's currently 449 to 40 in favor of Miami. 48, beg your pardon.
At the review, the runner stepped out of bounds at the 46-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 Miami at that spot. Please reset the game clock to 14 minutes, 54 seconds.
All right, it was the 46, not the 50. Good play either way. Perry still out there for Miami. Again, if you're just joining us, Malik Rozier, the first 2 drives, and N'Kosi Perry has been the quarterback ever since. Which 46-yard line is it? Is the question.
It's going all the way back to The Miami 46-yard line, not plus territory.
I mean, look at Malik Rogers at the headset on the whole time. And when you talk to the coaches about him, everything we hear about Malik Rogers is a model kid.
Yeah.
Great player, great leader. This is a tough situation, certainly, but you expect him to handle it with grace either way.
There's no doubt about it. And he'll be asked about the situation, and I'm sure he will handle it well.
Cameron Davis spun around across midfield for a gain of 6 on 1st and 10.
And you mentioned it. We did talk to Thomas Brown about Cameron Davis and said, hey, he can be an every down back. The guy can run between the tackles. He's excellent in the passing game, and they really, really like him. He's got a bright future, and on top of all of that, he's a youngster, just a true freshman.
The recruiting classes under Mark Richt have been excellent. Davis again worming free for 6 more.
How about the explosion that he's showing? So you got Perry at quarterback, who's a redshirt freshman. Brevin Jordan, the true freshman tight end, had one heck of a ball game today. And now, late in the ball game, let's give Cameron Davis some time, and he looks like he could be a starter behind this offensive line. What an arsenal of weapons the Hurricanes have. A lot of youth, a lot of good football players.
We're seeing a lot of freshmen in the second half. And there goes Davis running the route, and oh, Perry almost had him. You were fired up for that wheel route from Davis.
I saw it flash wide open, and he's staring inside just a little bit too long. So what happens is you rush the throw, and that creates the overthrow. Had he taken his eyes there a split second sooner, he hits him in stride, and Perry's in the end zone celebrating with his teammates. That's one in the film room. He's gonna figure, hey, that one got away.
Another good teachable moment.
Another good teachable moment for a young quarterback. Boy, and he has got, I'm not sure if that's Cager at the top or not, but that's exactly where I'd be going with it.
That's the Evidence Njoku, but it'll go to Lingard on the ground, and Lorenzo Lingard breaks it to the 25-yard line. 17 yards.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's another true freshman running back for Miami.
And time to check in once more with Chris Cotter in the studio.
Hard and tough to bring down is Josh Jacobs. We saw him, what, week 2?
Yeah, 4 NFL caliber running backs there. Injured FIU player here. SportsCenter is live from LA tonight after an interesting Arizona State-Washington game on ESPN. Herbie and Chris Fowler will join Stan and Neil to break down Stanford, Oregon, the Saturday night showdown. Reaction from Urban Meyer back on the sidelines after his 3-game suspension at Ohio State. And the top moments and plays from Week 4 college football after the game on ESPN at 1:30 a.m. Eastern. Injured FIU player was Olin Cushion. He is off the field.
You know what I'd like to see?
What would you like to see?
We'll get this play running, I'll tell you.
Build the suspense. Perry. Incomplete.
Boy, he got greedy there, because he had Harley running wide open in the middle of the field and in route with a post on top of it. Harley comes open first. Just give it to him. Don't get greedy and put yourself in harm's way. Take what's there. It's still going to be a big play because you hit Harley on the run. But I'd like to see the Miami-LSU rematch. Maybe we get it in the bowl season, but it's a totally different team now than what LSU faced in week 1. And by that, I mean you're coming out of fall camp. It's who makes the lesser of the mistakes that's going to win a football game, especially in week 1. And they we talked about it all day. 11 penalties in that game.
No third down conversions in the first half.
Exactly. I think it's a different team, and now you add N'Kosi Perry to that equation. It's a different team that LSU would see. And then the defense playing the way it is, be a totally different football game.
3rd and 5. Lingard slips a tackler, runs for a first down. Lorenzo Lingard is inside the 10. That was pretty. So is this. An update from Chris Cotter.
Wow.
What in the world?
I know Jay is excited. He is sitting very much on the edge of his seat watching that one.
Oh, they're going to burn it down in Norfolk tonight.
Which Virginia Tech team's going to show up each weekend? That's what you kind of have to ask yourself.
Hey, that Old Dominion team lost to FIU a couple of weeks ago. And right now, a winless Monarch team is giving the Hokies all they can handle.
If you allow a team to stay in a game long enough, you build their confidence. You turn it over. Penalties. All the things that we just described in terms of what Miami did against LSU, you find yourself, even though you're the superior team, in a football game. That's what's happening to Virginia Tech today. The Cager at the top. So inviting.
Perry. He's thinking what you're thinking. Cager incomplete. Isaiah Brown in coverage.
Not Cager.
Not Cager, beg your pardon. It was Evidence Njoku, who looks like a mini Cager.
And it had his hands on it. Just the very last second, lost it. Trying to reel it in, climb the ladder. It just about did it.
That was the brother of David Njoku, by the way, his younger brother.
Timeout.
Evidence.
Miami.
Timeout Miami. We'll take it with him.
ESPN College Football is presented by the unexpected energy of ExxonMobil. Energy lives here.
Shout out to Sheldrick Redwine's mama. He wears the new turnover chain. Had the interception earlier in the game. The turnover chain, which has sparked a nationwide craze of turnover objects. I'm told, Andre, that you put together your top 5 turnover objects.
I have.
And I don't know what they are, but I put together mine. We may get to find that out later in the show. I'm told yours are quite different from mine as well.
They are.
How do you know? Have you seen mine?
Nope.
All right.
We might agree on one, but we'll see.
I think we'll agree on more than one. A little trick play up 31-0. Flip it back to the freshman Mark Pope. And Pope is popped across the 5.
I don't know about that. This late in the game.
Yeah. Might want to keep that one in the playbook for another day.
Up 31-0. Just rubbing it in a little bit.
Well, this is the 4th game of the year for Miami.
It's funny when I make that comment. You know what I get back? Well, you ran it up when you were at Houston. You know how many games I played in the 4th quarter when the year that in '89?
How many?
2. Because Jack Pardee had me sitting on the bench by then. Two times in the 4th quarter. Arkansas and Texas A&M of that year.
Had to go for it on 4th and goal. Perry, rush coming from behind. He is taken down. Perry sacked by Furman Silva, his 2nd of the game. Loss of 12 on the sack, and FIU gets a stop. Headset is on. Looks like N'Kosi Perry is done for the game. The number 3 rated dual threat quarterback in the class of 2017. This group all in action today has a chance to be awfully special.
I think all 3 of them, certainly Kellen Mond is going to have better days. He's playing against the number 1 team in the country, and you see what Tua is able to do, but equally as impressed with the young redshirt freshman here in Miami, N'Kosi Perry, in his afternoon.
It is Chris Cotter time once again. We check in the studios. Chris?
I don't think so, my friend. There's just too much talent, having seen it up close and personal. I don't see it. They may get a half from LSU down the road later in the season, but I don't think so. I think they're just the superior team this season in college football.
Looking at that regular season schedule, LSU maybe can slow them down. I don't know that LSU can score with Alabama. The offense that they have, some of the limitations they have, even in a good start. Maybe Mississippi State. Here's a big play to C.J. Wharton all the way to midfield.
That's what I was expecting earlier in the game to get him involved. Something quick. You take advantage of an aggressive defense. Nice kick out blocks, and C.J. Wharton does his thing, but it's quick. It gets the ball out of James Morgan's hands and into a playmaker. It's the best offensive play. I think you could say that all game long for FIU.
Well, it's a 29-yard play. FIU had 55 total yards before that play. They get more than half of it in one play to Wharton. Now Morgan looks deep, takes a shot into double coverage.
Why not?
Overthrew everybody.
And he had, I think, is C.J. Wharton wide open. He looked to the post. He had the time, and Wharton is wide open going the other direction. I mean, that one, you almost could have punted it into his hands. Actually, it was Austin Maloney.
Still a young FIU team. They had to replace basically every key skill position player on their offense. Good run here. One of the few of the game. Napoleon Maxwell for 10 and a first down.
And I think there are a lot of pups on the field right now for the Hurricanes, which is why FIU is able to move the football down the field. And you got some of these older guys like, hey, we don't want to give up this goose egg. Get it going.
Miami has done well building comfortable leads the last few games and being able to play lots of freshmen. Of course, the NCAA has a new rule this year. You can play in 4 games, any 4, and maintain your redshirt status. So for some of these freshmen, this is their 4th game of the year. For some, it's their 2nd and 3rd. But Mark Richt has loved this rule. Gets them a chance to get extended looks at young players on both sides.
Well, what it does later in the year is that if you have injury problems and you have to go to some of these younger players, it's not their first experience of having gone in a game. So that's where the injury, the actual rule change has definitely benefited or will benefit a lot of rosters.
And you know, all these young kids want a shot at the turnover chain. Morgan, nobody decided to guard C.J. Wharton, and FIU is in the end zone.
Yeah, definitely a bust in the secondary, and credit to James Morgan of identifying it, sorting it out. You know, we were talking about that old karma thing. That running a little double, a reverse down there when you're up 31-0, a sack happened the very next play, and then you give up your shutout when this happens. That little old thing called karma.
DJ Ivey was the corner who blitzed there and left Wharton all alone. And this an impactful late touchdown for FIU. Bring it to 31-6 with an extra point pending. 85-yard drive for Florida International.
False start. Offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty, retry.
Well, the thing with Butch Davis that he'll tell his team is, hey, I don't know about outmanned, but I like playing for 60 minutes, and his team never quit.
Mark Richt told us there are some coaches who have teams that mess around and throw you off balance. Some coaches that just play good fundamental football, and he considers Butch Davis's teams to be in that latter half. Jose Borregales adds the extra point. A little war of words after the kick with FIU on the board. ESPN College Football presented by ExxonMobil. Miami has the shutout snapped against FIU. We're here during Extra Yard for Teachers Week, a week-long celebration of teachers led by the CFP Foundation. Learn more at cfp-foundation.org. See how you can get involved in Extra Yard for Teachers Week. Talking to players and coaches like Mark Richt about the impact teachers made in their lives. Mark fondly remembers Bill Milhone, who was his physical education teacher at Cole Elementary back in Broomfield, Colorado. Well, he would teach the phys ed class the fundamentals of every sport. Mark said we never played a game until every kid knew how to play it. Chris Cotter is our favorite teacher. Chris, teach us something else about Saturday college football.
Wow. One of the guys on game day picked that one.
ODU?
Not to win it.
Oh, it's the super dog pick. Yeah,
that's the super dog pick.
This would be the super dog of the year. New quarterback for Miami. It is Cade Weldon who hands the ball to Cameron Davis. Third string quarterback Weldon. He's the son of Casey Weldon, who was the runner-up for the 1991 Heisman Trophy, playing for Florida State offensive coordinator Mark Richt.
Well, his dad, we've played a few rounds of golf together. Been a few years. Love to catch up with Casey Weldon.
How do those rounds of golf usually go?
Yeah, he could hit it back then. I'm not sure what how he plays now. My game's a whole lot better than it was then.
Mark Richt has coached some good ones in his time between Florida State and Georgia. 2 Heisman Trophy winners. I guess if you go to Florida State, you have the initial CW. You're going to be successful. Ward and Winkie won it.
FIU
Weldon, runner-up.
is their first.
Matthew Stafford, a #1 pick at Georgia as well.
Might want to add NP to that list.
Mr. Perry might be the man here in Miami now. Timeout taken before a third down. Puts Davis in his return to Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens. Try to get the ball back, at least leave this game with a better taste in his mouth after FIU marched down the field last drive. These teams will meet again next year. It will be an FIU home game, but FIU's stadium is too small, so they'll either play it here or potentially at Marlins Park.
It's actually closer here for FIU than it is for Miami to travel here.
Weldon on a third down. Sticks it in the gut of Davis. And Cameron Davis has a first down.
I've been impressed with him. Both the true freshmen, he and Lingard. It's been a nice afternoon for the true freshman running backs of Miami.
Nice afternoon for Chris Cotter as well. We'll check in with him after this next play. Or into the next play. I want to hear what's going on, and let's do it now.
Chris Benny fears no one. Very confident young man.
Cotter's just in
fear.
my brain every second.
Personal foul, chop block, offense, number 51 and number 75. 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
We saw Kentucky 3 weeks ago. They started a little slowly against Central Michigan, pulled away, then beat Florida.
Big win last week.
What do you like as their chances against Mississippi State tonight?
That'll be a tough ball game. I know Megan Powell will be tuned into that one, rooting on the Wildcats. And if I pick Mississippi State, I won't hear the end of it in my headset. But my gut tells me Mississippi State. Who knows? You know what? I picked against them against Florida. I'm gonna pick against them today, and maybe they win.
Okay.
That's how I'm getting myself out of trouble.
I consider you the foremost Kentucky expert. What, you have them 6 times last year?
Yes, and then open the season this year as we travel to Lexington.
I fully expect wherever they go in the bowl, we'll go with them.
Yeah, we may
Unless
be right
they
there
go,
with them.
maybe they're going to go 13-0. Who knows?
Megan seems to think so. That's for sure.
Robert Burns gets some run now as Miami continues to empty the stable of running backs. You know, Miami is back to being a national power with some of the freshmen and the sophomores they have on this team. Super talented recruits all the way around. Weldon Trouble with a snap, and Miami has turned it over, taken away by FIU, and Jason Mercier with the pickup.
A little accident there. Mix up. Actually, it looked like the running back Burns just knocked it right out of Weldon's hands, and FIU may get themselves on the board again.
Jason Mercier, by the way, my apologies. Mercier with the pickup for FIU. No turnover chain for the Panthers, but they have the takeaway anyway. We got our top 5 turnover accessories. I don't know what yours are. I got the Louisville Muhammad Ali belt and the SMU Chalice 5 and 4.
How can you disrespect the champ and put him at number 5? And I'm talking about Muhammad Ali.
So you've got that one higher? You have the Boise Throne 5. I have an opinion on this. Memphis Robe number 4. All right, my number 3 is the Memphis Robe. The Tulane beads.
Yep.
Wow.
A little play off the chain, you know, but in a different manner. It kind of fits the New Orleans theme. Like that.
You're a Mardi Gras kind of guy.
Yeah, when you put a little thought into it.
Yeah. I like the robe for the Ric Flair possibilities. I just like the idea of wearing a robe on the sideline. The rare turnover accessory that can be found in high-end hotel rooms. Morgan, incomplete. They got a security guard. All right, number 2. So you have the Louisville belt, because you were saying don't disrespect the champ. You got to have the belt too.
You got to respect the champ.
I got the Kennesaw State plank, which is my favorite turnover accessory out of South Florida. Have you seen the plank?
I don't need to see the plank. Just hearing it.
Awesome.
You know, the turnover plank. That just show you.
I want to lay some wood.
That gets me so fired up.
That's the turnover plank. How can you not love this?
No way.
Startup football program a few years ago in the FCS playoffs last year.
Lame.
All because of plank.
Of all of them out there, it's the lamest.
That's why it's almost the best. Morgan hit as he throws. Overthrew Wharton, and a 4th down coming up.
But
all right, number 1. This got to be unanimous,
right? I think we agree.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
It may not be the first turnover or sideline accessory, but this is the best.
It just says Miami over and all the way through. So it was creative. They've taken it to another level this year. Love it. Love the idea, and I even like the song that goes with it.
Yeah. I don't like the Boise State throne as much as you and as much as most, because it's not a throne. It looks like a chair that you found at a yard sale in somebody's great-grandmother's house.
It's the thought that's gone into it.
Call it the old chair. Field goal try for Jose Borregales is good. 10 in a row for FIU. I mean, I like the concept of a turnover throne. This is not a throne.
That doesn't look like it was found in a yard sale.
This is not a throne.
Looks like it's fit for a king, a guy that
looks like
just got a turnover.
That looks like it's out of a knockoff Cinderella's castle right there.
That's nice. It looks better than that plank. That I
yes,
can go,
but the plank has character.
I can go pick up in any lumber yard.
The plank has character. This is number 1. This is the new one this year, Sebastian the Ibis. The chain is heavier, has a lot more stones. And then you get to write messages as well.
And then you shout out to Mama. Love it. Love it.
Smart kid, Sheldrick Redwine.
No doubt.
4th career interception. He and Jaquan Johnson, who did not play today, played together in high school, 2 dynamic safeties, and they're hopeful that Jaquan will return from a hamstring injury next week.
Super players on the back end of Miami's defense. And Tell you what, I'd love to see that rematch. Hopefully they give it to us in the bowl game. LSU and Miami down the road.
By the way, I just want to finish off the turnover accessories discussion by saying last place goes to the Florida State turnover backpack.
That's horrible.
It's unanimous on that one.
Timeout. Miami. It is their third. It will be 30 seconds.
So 10 in a row for FIU, which will drop to 2-2, but still has a good chance to get back to a bowl game. They made their third ever bowl last year. They have one bowl win, and that was the day after Christmas 2010 in the Little Caesars Bowl. This is T.Y. Hilton, Andre Ware, Texans killer.
Still seeing him.
Who had a couple of huge plays in the game, including a receiving touchdown. Set up this at the gun, Jack Griffin from 34. FIU wins for head coach Mario Cristobal, who will be coaching the Oregon Ducks in prime time tonight. 8 Eastern ABC with Stanford.
Like the Ducks tonight. I'll be texting you as that game is in progress.
I like Stanford, actually. I think Stanford pulls it out with Bryce Love back.
With Bryce Love back, but not at 100% going on the road against a warp speed offense. That one's tough.
Maybe onside time here for FIU.
I think so.
3-score game. Try to get the ball back. That's a pretty good onside kick off the hands of Cager. It's loose at the turf.
And FIU comes up with it.
Richard Dames picked it up.
That was perfectly executed in terms of the kick and bouncing at the right time, giving his cover team an opportunity right there. That bounce puts it just high enough, and I'm not sure the Miami player and the number that actually touched it, but now it's in play, and FIU with another possession.
Jose Borregales with a great onside kick. We talked about Butch earlier praising the punter Stone Wilson. He said maybe all three of my kicking specialists could be in the NFL. Borregales with a beautiful onside kick. And now Morgan of the offense back to work and nearly intercepted.
Yeah, and he's got Maurice Alexander giving him the dreaded receiver stare because coverage had busted again, and he was standing way at the top of the screen, wide open. I don't know if he has a touch today.
He does not. No, I don't think so.
But that is a young man that they will rely heavily on throughout the remainder of the season.
Had a receiving touchdown to punt return touchdown last game, Alexander, and he has not caught a pass in this game. Morgan on 2nd and 10. Wharton in double coverage. Are you kidding me? He reeled it in at the 10. Wow. That was crazy.
And I know that they're playing a lot of younger players, you know, second, third team guys. But all of a sudden, FIU has found some offense, and I know desperately Miami wanted the shutout. That's obviously not going to happen, and it looks like even more points are going to be put up here.
That looked a little bit like a touchdown Wharton caught in the SEC championship game 3 years ago. He was playing for Florida against Alabama. Great double coverage catch for the transfer from the Gators, who came to FIU, wasn't on scholarship, but was put on one by Butch Davis for his excellent work in the offseason. Butch asked CJ what his job was. He had a construction job. He said, "You're quitting that today. I'm putting you on scholarship."
Well, I think you get down here because of the clock. You got to throw the football. Who cares if it's incomplete? You need the time and not the yards. I always felt like when you get down inside the red zone, inside the 20, the further back we are, the better we could execute, because it gives you more time or more room in which to work.
Morgan keeps it. Morgan, whole lot of players in the end zone, and he sticks it to Wharton again for his second score.
We talked about Malik Rozier and Jeff Thomas. That that duo from a week ago, and James Morgan and C.J. Wharton on the other side. Boy, that is a dime right there, thrown into coverage, and a nice grab of getting both, not just one, but both feet down inbounds. Another extra point and an onside kick.
$17 in a row if this one goes through for FIU from Borregales. Good fight shown by the Panthers at the end of the game after Miami failed on a 4th and goal attempt. Well, the old FIU coach Mario Cristobal has his biggest game in his short tenure as Oregon head coach. Undefeated number 7 Stanford comes to Eugene for Saturday night primetime on ABC and on the Watch ESPN, or just the ESPN app, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo. It has been a fairly, to this point, upset-free day, especially for the ranked teams. Stanford is a slight favorite in that game in Eugene. Autzen Stadium at night, there are not many tougher places to play.
Tough place to visit at night. Give them all day to get ready.
All right, let's see if FIU can pull this thing off
Two
again.
times. 2 onside kicks in a row.
It was Lawrence Cager, who's all the way back, bottom left of your screen, who had the ball go through his hands the first time. Jose Borregales from Booker T. Washington High School in Miami, redshirt sophomore, goes the other way this time, and Miami is on top of it.
Just didn't quite get the bounce that he got going to his left.
It's fielded by Zach McLeod to seal it for Miami. Should be a few knees and out for the Hurricanes. Well, what's your biggest takeaway if you're a Miami fan from this game?
Well, so there's a lot of upside to the remainder of the season. You got a lot of young talent with Perry at quarterback and a couple of backs. Hopefully Jeff Thomas will get himself healed up and back next week. But there is a lot of talent here. Brevin Jordan at tight end and at the defensive line could go into every game and do the damage that they've done. You've got something the rest of the season.
And it appears as if they've got a new quarterback. Malik Rozier the first 2 series, and it has been N'Kosi Perry since then. Rozier right next to Mark Richt, giving out signals with a headset on. N'Kosi Perry, not his first start, but his first meaningful action. He got in against Savannah State in the 77-0 win, and at the end of the game last week, and he flashed today, especially with that big right arm.
He's a special player. There is no doubt about it.
FIU has a couple of timeouts left. Did not use one after first down and will not use one after second down. One more play will end it for Miami. There's the day for Perry. A late interception, but he was otherwise just about perfect throwing the football. Started 10 for 10, 3 touchdowns. Hooked up with Lawrence Cager a couple of times and Brevin Jordan once. And the redshirt freshman appears to be the new sheriff at the quarterback spot for Miami. Lingard the last to touch it. 31-17 is your final. Miami gets the first 31. A crushing defensive effort in the first 3 quarters. And an easy win over its crosstown brothers from FIU. Handshake between Mark Richt and Butch Davis. It was a clean game. No real hostility to be seen, which was great. after the brawl of 12 years ago. And the Hurricanes win it. Go to 3-1. Miami has North Carolina next Thursday. That game on ESPN. FIU is off to face Arkansas Pine Bluff. We send you now to College Football Scoreboard.